Today, we're going to recap the entire 2024 NFL Draft for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to give you the players I like, the players I don't like, what the Cardinals did, what they should have done, and I'm going to do an overall grade at the end. The gloves are coming off. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we cover conversational pieces, rumors, breaking news, everything surrounding your favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. So definitely subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Let's talk about what we're all here to talk about, and that is recapping the 2024 NFL Draft for the Arizona Cardinals. Heading into the draft, we had a total of 11 picks. Leaving the draft, we had a total of 12 picks. So we got a lot to dive into, and let's start with the first round. Fourth overall, the Arizona Cardinals stuck to their guns and chose the best wide receiver in the entire collegiate level this year, and bringing in Marvin Harrison Jr., a big-bodied, huge weapon for Kyler Murray. And let me tell you right now, this exceeds expectations. This is as hyped as it gets. This is probably one of the most best favorite prospects for a lot of the fan base. And honestly, if you want to bring some sort of excitement to a organization that had back-to-back 4-win seasons, you do a move like this, bringing in Marvin Harrison Jr. And yes, he is as advertised, and I think a lot of us are very excited to see him year one. We're talking about a guy that had over 1,200 yards last year, 14 touchdowns, and averages about 18.1 yards a catch. So we're talking about an absolute playmaker when we're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. So an absolute huge win for the Cardinals, automatically upgrading that wide receiving position. And let's move on over to the second first round pick, and we ended up snagging with the 27th overall Darius Robinson, edge out of Missouri. Now this man right here actually has the flexibility to actually play in the interior as well as in the edge as well. I feel like that is one of the biggest things why the Arizona Cardinals were very intrigued with the idea of a Darius Robinson. His draft stock definitely went up in the Senior Bowl, and I feel like a lot of eyes got on Darius Robinson right after that Senior Bowl. And of course, the Arizona Cardinals would love the opportunity to bring him in, and I truly think that we're going to be using him both edge and interior, but I feel like what we're really going to do is probably try to make him in the interior. He probably might need to add a little bit more weight to him, but I feel like it's a really huge pickup for the Arizona Cardinals in the tail end of the first round. Now let's move over to the second round. Now this was a complete shock for some Cardinals fans because we were originally sitting at the 35th overall pick with the third pick in the second round, and the Arizona Cardinals end up moving back to the 43rd overall and actually accumulating another third round pick. But on paper, it sounded good, it sounded sweet, but I think there's a lot of Arizona Cardinal fans that are actually pretty upset with the idea of losing out on potential prospects like Cooper DeJean as well as Julian McKinstry. But I truly feel like Max Melton being the pick at 43 is actually a really good prospect for the Arizona Cardinals. Now when we're talking about Max Melton, we're talking about a very good prospect and a guy that actually fits the Jonathan Gannon play style. Whenever we hear him say violent, that is exactly what Max Melton is. He's got a hard hit, he's actually really speedy, and he can actually recover whenever he's beat, especially going downhill. This man is a really good prospect. There is some people out there that actually feel like this is probably one of the top 5 cornerbacks that the Arizona Cardinals ended up snagging in the second round in Max Melton out of Rutgers. I truly feel like it's a huge upgrade to the cornerback position that absolutely needs help. Now let's continue with day 2. Let's move on over to the third round pick, 66 overall. This is actually probably one of my favorite picks in day 2. The Arizona Cardinals land one of the best running backs in the entire 2024 NFL Draft, landing Trey Benson, running back out of Florida State. Now actually, I was pretty shocked that the Cardinals went this early in running back. I truly always felt like the Arizona Cardinals were going to go running back, try to have some sort of contingency plan. This is James Conner Conner's his last year under contract. We all love James Conner here in the Bird Gang, but we gotta call it like it is. He is turning 29 this next year, and this is his last year under contract, and he does get hurt a lot. So I can definitely very well see Trey Benson becoming the future running back for the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's move on over to our next third round pick that was chosen 71st overall, and that is going to be Isaiah Adams, guard out of Illinois. Now he does have the flexibility to either play right tackle or guard. I feel like the Arizona Cardinals brought him in primarily to play guard, right? I feel like that is one of the biggest needs for the Cardinals on that offensive line is guard, and the Cardinals did very, very well addressing the trenches in the entirety of this draft. So Isaiah Adams is a new member of the Arizona Cardinals, chosen 71st overall. Then the Arizona Cardinals end up double dipping and getting another player out of Illinois with their next third round pick in this 82nd overall, landing Tip Ryman, tight end out of Illinois. Now this guy is probably brought in here primarily to block for the Arizona Cardinals. I think we're going to be seeing a shift in terms of maybe being I don't want to say a run heavy type of team, but we're going to be starting to see different formations here, right? We're coming into the second year of Drew Petzing's offense, probably going to see more 12 personnel. We're probably going to be seeing 2 tight end packages. So bringing in a Tip Ryman definitely gives us the flexibility to use a lot more heavier packages, and he loves to block. He actually has a quote out there that what is his favorite thing about blocking? He says mauling somebody. We got one more third round pick, and that is going to be none other than Elijah Jones. We ended up doubling down in cornerback out of Boston College. Now this guy is a tall, lengthy cornerback that can definitely go ahead and get the ball if it is up in the air. He's 6'2", definitely got some length on him, so the Cardinals end up doubling down on cornerback. Now let's move on over to day 3 of the 2024 draft. The Arizona Cardinals end up using the 104th overall on Dadrion Taylor Demerson, safety out of Texas Tech. It definitely seems like this kid is a well-rounded athlete, and a lot of high praise for Dadrion coming in and actually being picked up by the Arizona Cardinals. Now if you ask yourself, did we really need a safety? I think in the long haul we most likely will. Budda Baker is getting up there in age. We do love Jalen Thompson, but he has had some struggles with staying healthy in a consistent manner. So we're probably looking at somebody that maybe is going to be filling in a role in special teams for now, but definitely a great depth player for the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's move on over to our 5th round pick, chosen 138th overall. The Arizona Cardinals end up picking Xavier Thomas, edge out of Clemson. Now this guy right here is 6'2", 270 pounds, a guy that can really get to the quarterback, and it definitely seems like per Monty Ossenfort, this is the guy that they've been actually scouting for the last couple years. So they are really excited to bring in an Xavier Thomas. Now I really like what the Cardinals have done so far, actually addressing the trenches on the offensive side of the ball as well as the defensive side of the ball. We're not really used to that here as Arizona Cardinal fans. We're usually actually picking just linebackers and safeties. So it's really refreshing to see our general manager really addressing both sides of the ball for the trenches. Now, for his collegiate level in 2023, I think he had a total of 4 sacks, 25 total tackles, and 1 fumble recovery in Clemson. So we're looking at a guy that the Cardinals really liked, and they ended up snagging him here in the 5th round. Now let's move on over to our next 5th round pick here, chosen 162nd overall, and that was none other than Christian Jones, offensive tackle out of Texas. Now, I believe it was Daniel Jeremiah that had this man labeled as the 55th best prospect in his entire big board. So there's a lot of intrigue for a Christian Jones, and we're talking about a guy that could definitely give you some depth, maybe a guy that could be a future right tackle for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't exactly know what Jonah Williams is going to give us, although I feel like he is going to be slotted at that right tackle position, but a player like Christian Jones definitely gives you the flexibility to actually have really good depth in the offensive line. Now let's move on over to the 6th round pick. The Arizona Cardinals end up choosing in the 6th round with the 191st overall, Tajon Palmer, wide receiver. Now this is actually not a shock that the Arizona Cardinals double dip in wide receiver. I actually wanted them to double dip, but I actually had some prospects that I felt like the Arizona Cardinals maybe wanted more. Obviously I was wrong, but we ended up getting another wide receiver to help out our much needed wide receiving core in Tajon Palmer. Now I do believe I heard Mel Kiper come out and says he really likes this pick for the Arizona Cardinals, and he truly felt like if he actually waited one more year and came out in 2025, he could probably very well be a much higher draft pick for the 2025 draft class. But he chose to come out in 2024, and the Arizona Cardinals still got this playmaker, and I feel like it's a really good pickup. Now let's move on over to our very last pick in the 7th round, 226th overall. The Arizona Cardinals end up getting Jaden Davis, another cornerback out of Miami. Now, Monty Ossenfort was asked, was this the plan to get back-to-back-to-back cornerbacks? He actually came out and said this is just the way the board fell at the end of the day. In terms of value, he felt like Jaden Davis, Melton, and Elijah Jones, where they were picking, it was just way too much value to not go after these individuals. And now quickly, let me give you my quick favorites in day 1, day 2, and day 3. Day 1, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., the best wide receiver in the entire 2024 NFL draft class. For day 2, I have to go with Trey Benson. I feel like it's an absolute huge value piece and a future running back for the Arizona Cardinals. In day 3, I'm going to have to go ahead and give some love to the offensive side of the ball on the trenches and go after Christian Jones out of Texas. Those are my top 3 favorite picks in day 1, day 2, and day 3. Now let's go ahead and give an overall value on how I feel like the Arizona Cardinals ended up doing in this 2024 NFL draft class. Now, for what it's worth, NFL Network came out and gave the Arizona Cardinals an A-, and Mel Kiper's came out and gave the Arizona Cardinals an A. So it's not far-fetched for me to go out here and say the Arizona Cardinals do deserve an A, and that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to come out here and say the Arizona Cardinals actually had a very, very, very good draft class. We actually came out here and filled up a lot of holes, added a lot of competition, added a lot of depth, and at the end of the day, with these 12 picks, if the Arizona Cardinals could potentially land themselves 4 to 5 starters, I think that's an absolute home run for the Arizona Cardinals. Let me know what your thoughts are on the entire 2024 NFL draft class for the Cardinals. Let me know here in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cards.